What's up, everyone? This is Alex Neff, your real estate resource in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Today, we are going to be talking about how to invest in real estate with self-directed IRAs. That's right. You can buy and lease and sell real estate with your individual retirement account. Now, there is a twist. It cannot be through a company or a business. To my knowledge, it has to be through a self-directed IRA that you have individually with a financial institution. So let's jump right in. Now, the way that this is done, it's called master leasing. Now, a lot of investors are already familiar with master leasing, rental arbitrage, even buying and selling properties with an IRA. But what happens if you don't have enough money to purchase a property outright from a landlord that already has tenants in it? Well, some savvy investors are able to put a little money into a landlord's pocket and also make a couple dollars for themselves with a small investment in their IRA. So, master leasing consists of renting a property from a landlord who no longer wants to deal with tenants, management, and the tasks that go along with managing the rental properties. Sometimes they just prefer to collect a monthly check for the rental income and have someone else handle the day-to-day activities. The landlord will enter into this master lease agreement with an investor who then subleases that property to a tenant. Now, disclaimer, before you get into any contracts, please make sure to follow the rules with Roth and traditional IRAs, the individual retirement accounts, and also contact your tax professional to see what kind of a liability you might incur, and talk to an attorney before you enter into any contracts. So I'm going to go through an example that I was reading about in an article that I thought was very interesting because you don't need a ton of money to be a real estate investor. So, a person used their Roth IRA to enter into a master lease agreement with an exhausted landlord who no longer wanted to deal with the midnight phone calls, vacancies, leases, background checks, and everything else that goes into managing a rental property. Sometimes people get calls at 1 o'clock in the morning because their hot water heater broke or whatever it is. The property management and being a landlord has its own set of headaches. So the landlord of this particular property was tired of that, but they did not want to sell the property, at least not yet. The property had an appraised value of $125,000 to $130,000, and even if the landlord wanted to sell, the particular investor in this situation did not have the capital to buy and manage it as a rental. They didn't have 130 grand at their disposal in their IRA to purchase this property outright. So what you'll see that the small balance in their IRA was enough for this master lease agreement. Now, through this master lease agreement, the investor negotiated with the landlord to rent this property for $1,000 a month and have $1,000 security deposit, all paid for out of the Roth IRA. Under the master lease agreement, the investor agreed to pay for all the furnishings, pay for any expense under $100, and take all the phone calls from the tenant, oversee the property, and do all of the day-to-day things that come with having rental properties. The landlord is going to operate as usual, except they don't have any more headaches and they don't get any more phone calls. They deal with one person only, and that is the leaseholder, not the subletter. So here's a quick little breakdown, the expenses and tax-free profits for the investor. So the investor pays $1,000 security deposit from the Roth IRA directly to the landlord, plus $1,000 monthly in rent. So far, the investor is in for 13 grand. That's 12 months in a year, $1,000 a month, plus the $1,000 in security deposit. The investor also paid $5,000 to fully furnish the property and another $4,800 in miscellaneous expenses. That could be landscaping, gardening, painting, Mickey Mouse expenses, something small, maybe like a background check for $40 or a credit check for whoever the investor was going to rent the property to. So that was the $4,800 in the miscellaneous expenses for the year. The total investment for the year out of this person's IRA was $22,800. Their gross rent on this property, after giving it a little facelift, furnishing it, and making it all shiny and brand new, the gross rent for the year was $31,200. That's $2,600 a month that the investor was collecting from the tenant for a fully furnished property. So if you take the gross rent of 31,200 and you subtract the initial investment for the year, the tax-free profit that this person made was $8,400. $8,400 they made on this property for a $22,800 investment, and they're going to continue to do it for the following year. And the following year, they might not need to do the $5,000 to fully furnish it. They might not need to do the $4,800 in the year for miscellaneous expenses. Definitely a lot for that kind of stuff, but you don't have to refurnish the whole place. And you don't have to do another $1,000 security deposit. You continue to pay the landlord $1,000 in rent. Maybe he or she bumps it up a couple dollars to go with the market, but you're still clearing a few grand, and it's all tax-free. It is all tax-free through your IRA because it is an individual retirement account. Now, as a younger person, we can't take disbursements on this IRA until we're a certain age. So that's why it's tax-free. So if it's a Roth, it's explained as post-tax dollars. If it's a traditional IRA, it's pre-tax dollars. So we might be paying this money into our IRA, but we don't have to pay tax on it until we're a certain age. I think it's 62 and a half is when you start to take disbursements. But once again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a real estate agent. I love real estate. And this is just a wonderful way to get involved in real estate investing with low or no money down. So if you have any questions about any type of buying, selling, leasing, renting, investing in real estate, reach out to me on all my social media pages: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can follow me on TikTok. I really hope that this was beneficial to you in some way. And as always, I am your real estate resource. Thanks for watching.